Good evening, Rovers fans, and welcome to another edition of On the Other Side, live with me, Ryan Hildred, from Rovers Chat. It was another disappointing defeat for Rovers last time out against Swansea City, and I guess the last thing we all wanted was a Neil Warnock side rocking themselves up at Ewood Park with our form. Nonetheless, I am delighted to be joined by Stephen Jackson from the 12th Man podcast for his third appearance of the season on Rovers Chat. Stephen, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Do I get like a hat-trick ball or something then?
Well, yeah, actually, you're the first one to get the hat-trick appearance, so we'll have to look into that and see if we can get you one. Maybe Stuart Downing can sort us one out, so we'll see. But good to have you on again, Stephen. Thanks for joining us. Before we make a start, of course, just a reminder to everyone that we are sponsored by 6yardsout.com.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.
And thanks once again to the guys at 6yardsout.com for sponsoring our site and our YouTube channel. And of course, if you've not checked them out, please go and have a look at all the merchandise that they have available. And of course, if you are not following Rovers Chat on Twitter, we are Rovers_chat. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel Rovers Chat to stay up to date with all of our content. And tomorrow we will be live with pre and post-match streams to preview the game. But before we get there, we're going to start with On the Other Side with you, Stephen. And we're going to have a look at this match preview. In a nutshell, I think Middlesbrough are probably where everyone thought a Neil Warnock side would be. The old master is at it again and planting you right in that top six early doors. What has the start been like so far?
Since the first day of the season, obviously we lost at Watford 1-0. We've been superb. Hard to break down. Nick and Law got 1-0 win. We're culminating our best performance of the season on Saturday against Forest. So we've started really well. A lot of fans expect us to be better than we were last season, but I don't think anybody expects us to be 2 points off the top two already. So we've progressed really, really well under Uncle Neil.
Yeah. And last season, it didn't quite work out for Jonathan Woodgate, did it? You know, you found yourself fighting towards the wrong end of the table for quite a lot of the season. And from an outsider looking in, it looked like Woodgate was trying to change his style and perhaps was the right man, but at the wrong time. And I'm sure you all wanted a local lad to succeed for you too. What went wrong for Woodgate ultimately?
I think everything just went against Woody, unfortunately. There was, like you said, it was wrong at the wrong time. It was just, he tried to change everything about the football club. The word philosophy came into it a lot. We didn't have the players to carry out that philosophy. Financial constraints with the FFP for the 3-year period held us back. Obviously, we still had to save a bit of money to keep him with that. It was just unfortunate. I mean, we were all hoping that it failed for him. It was just as the season went on, some of the decisions he was making were more and more balmy. I mean, it all culminated for me when he was going for it. His formation just went out the window, and it's just little things like that. It just didn't work, unfortunately, and that's why we've gone on to where we are with Neil Warnock now.
Indeed. And if we look at your results in a bit more detail, the thing that's instantly jumping out for me is the lack of goals in both of the columns. So it's 9 games, 9 goals for, 5 conceded, and you're in that top 6. And again, I think those 1-0 and 2-0 victories is something that you associate with Neil Warnock throughout his career. Has it become a case of defend first under Neil Warnock?
I think he's always said to us, get the basics right, which obviously the basics is a good spine, means a good keeper, a good back line, and then a good spine down the middle. And that's exactly what Warnock's done. So you can see from the results that we're having, which is a credit to Neil and his team. making us a tight back defence. And he found the formula at the back as well. Like last season, we had so many different partnerships at the back. We seem to have up with one now. Obviously, Fry a bit 50-50 for the game tomorrow, but he's still stuck with the back three that he likes now, and it's working for us. We've realised we can start picking up the sheets. We can then push on. If we can get them 1-0 wins, end of the day, you get more points from more balls. So that it's 3 points in the day. That's exactly what he's going for, and just making it really hard to beat.
Yeah. And with this start then, and with a manager like Neil Warnock, is the expectation level raised back to getting promoted back into the Premier League? You've mentioned it yourself, and I think it's well documented that you've needed to cut your cloth a little bit over the last couple of years to remain FFP compliant. And it does look like a tight, smallish squad, but we have seen sides go up before with squads like that, namely Leeds last season that didn't use too many players. So is that expectation level back up there?
I think it's time to raise a bit more. Obviously, if you'd ask most Borough fans to start the season, we're all at the table now and comfortable away from the relegation zone. That's what we'd have took. Last season was so uncomfortable at times, being just on that relegation line. Obviously, going towards the last couple of games, we didn't know if we were going to stay up or not. So we expected a bit more safety this year. As games have gone on, as the confidence has hit the team and the performances are getting better, it's just obvious that we're getting things Warnock and we're going further and further up the table. And I think fans are starting to think, well, hang on, he did this with Cardiff. He's done this with Palace. He's done this with QPR. He's done this with squads down the years. Is it time? Is it our time for one more Warnock promotion before he's been retirement?
Absolutely. And then if we look at the squad in a bit more detail, what was the pre-season transfer activity like? Because I look at it, your squad now, you've got good championship performers in Britta Sombolonga, George Saville, Paddy McNair. They're all still at Borough, but of course you did lose a couple to Rovers, Pears and Ayala, who we've chatted about, yeah. Stephen. What was it like in pre-season? Did you maintain a good squad there?
I think every Borough fan will say happily we could have done with a couple more additions. We've got a small squad. I think with the injuries that we're starting to get, I mean Fletcher's out for a few months now with a hamstring problem. We're down to 2 strikers. So they've been solid ones. They've been Neil Warnock signings. I mean Bettinelli coming in, it's a Neil Warnock signing.
Yeah.
Injuries at the moment, but he's a big centre half that Neil Warnock knows well from the time that so the best thing about the signs that we've made, although few and far between, they've all said because of Neil Warnock, he's got a pull factor. So I mean, even signs like Chuba Akpom, he started really well with the Borough, got a couple of goals. So we've got goals in there. Unfortunately, we haven't got a squad, but we've got goals through the team, and we've got a solid base now. So we just look better prepared for the season than we did last year.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way to me as well. It just looks like a good tight knit squad and a great manager in Warnock who can get the best out of them. So absolutely, and why not? You could be Warnock's last promotion, but then is he going to do the same again and stick with you for that Premier League season? Who knows if you get there? So only he knows that. So if we move on to the game itself then, Stephen, Rovers have been a real frustration to our fan base this season. We've had 2 4-0 wins, a 5-0 win, completely soured with 4 defeats in the last 5. And to be honest, the last thing I want is a Neil Warnock side coming to Ewood Park, especially with some of our players missing. Do you think the approach will be for Borough to come and stifle Rovers in that way? Or could you see something a little bit different, actually, especially with us out of form and underconfident?
I think we'll stick to what our game plan's been. Stay as solid as we can at the back. Even with the players that you have got out, you've still got players such as Adam Armstrong still in there. I still think he's. I think if I'm thinking right, he's the top scorer in the division still. So you've still got goals up front. So we still need to keep that back three as a solid base. You've still got Ben Brereton in there as well. You know, he's a big lump of a striker. So, you know, we've still got to deal with him. So I think our approach will be exactly the same as it always has been. Get the play out wide as best as we can, use them ones to our advantage, and stretch your squad out and that team as much as we can to run you around the pitch, and then hopefully nick a goal when we get into the second half. I think that's the best way to describe how we go towards games now.
Yeah, and who do you think the danger men for Middlesbrough are going to be tomorrow? Who's going to be looking to hurt Rovers?
I think one of the main players. I mean, it depends who he plays up front. Obviously, either striker is going to be a big danger. Sam Malonga everybody knows his championship pedigree. You know, he's a goal scorer. He always has been since days with Peterborough when he came up to go into the Forest team. Chuba Akpom, he's started really well with the Borough. Paddy McNair is one player I want to pick out. I know he's been playing at the back in a back three for but I mean, Warnock said today he's on his day he's one of the best players in the championship, and I completely agree. His deliveries, his crosses, they're wicked at times. You know, they're them type of balls in that defenders hate, in between the keeper and the back line. He knows how to get into them positions. His corner deliveries are good. He's just got the all-round game. All of a sudden, we've gone from Paddy McNair from Sunderland to Paddy McNair is absolutely essential. We need him in our squad every week. So he's another one. You've got Johnny Howson, George Saville. They're all performing. It's our spine at the moment that is going to cause some problems, I think, for Rovers tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I think it's the spine for us that we're lacking at the moment. We've got Lewis Travis out, Bradley Dack out. You know, that's two players who would be in our spine, and I think the spine is really important. Thomas Kaminski, who we signed in pre-season, our first choice goalie, he's really impressed as well. So that's three out of a spine that we're lacking as well. Rovers fans watching in, Stephen's highlighted a few players there who he regards as the danger men from a Rovers perspective. So who are you thinking could hurt Rovers tomorrow? Hit us with the comments in that comments box. So on the flip side then, Stephen, if there's any areas of weakness for Rovers to exploit, what would that be?
Set pieces. It's where we concede our goals. I know we've only conceded 5 this season, but a couple of them have been from set pieces. I mean, the goal we conceded against Watford, set piece, Bournemouth, set piece. You know, we've still got that about us. So if Rovers want to really target us, because I know you've got quite a big squad as well, height-wise, I think a set piece could be the way to go. But as I say, we are starting to get better and better at that. So but it's one of the players is a set piece, or if he's in a corner, I might wince.
Yeah. Well, I've got some good news for you from a Rovers perspective. Bradley Johnson probably won't play tomorrow. He's been good in the air. Daniel Ayala's not playing, so some of our height is missing, actually. So that's good news from your perspective. And then just in terms of your general views on Rovers then, Stephen, what have you made of our start, and where do you think we're going to be this season ultimately?
It's been a mixed bag of what we've all seen of Rovers. As you said, you've had your big wins, your 4-0s, your 5-0s, but then you've had defeats against Reading. I say you got beaten midweek last week. Obviously the weekend at Swansea, that was repeat as well. I think you've only won one. Is it one in the last 5 you've won? So it shows that Mowbray's got the tools, but it's causing a bit of havoc with the squad, because I think Barry Douglas was self-isolating for the weekend as well, so he was missing. So it does show. It's showing that it's having an effect on everybody at the moment. So I mean, I expect Rovers to be up there. I think Rovers have got the squad to be up there now. They've got everything at the back and up front. So it's obviously hard to tell. You know what's going to happen with this virus, how it's going to affect teams, when it's going to affect teams. But if you can get towards the playoffs, I think that's where I'm most expected to be this season.
Yeah, and I think the frustrations from our perspective at the moment are coming from the fact that it's been just a gradual decline year on year as we've been in the Football League. And it feels like now we've got a squad that should be up there and aiming for the top six. And for whatever reason, we've never looked like those bona fide contenders yet. And I think that's where a lot of the frustration's coming, because we do have some depth as well. We do have some good squad depth for the first time in quite a long time. So, yeah, hopefully our results can turn in that way. So, Stephen, I was just looking at the Rovers Borough links going into the game. I didn't have to look very hard, of course. Four that I've picked out, given our recent business in recent years. If you're a superstitious fan like me, then I would be really anxious. You know, if it was on the flip side with Tony Mowbray, Ainsley Pears, Daniel Ayala, who's not going to play, and Stuart Downing, who's signed on a free today. We're not going to talk about them in too much detail, because do check out Stephen's insight on our transfer specials earlier on. But do you ever fear coming up against these former players and managers in this way, like I would be doing? Because things like Pears saving a penalty or Downing rifling one into the top corner, or are you just so used to it now, given the hotbed that Teesside is for players going and playing in the English Football League and Premier League?
We're just so used to it now. It obviously still has the fear factor for us. And we all say up here, you know, it would be, you know, typical Borough. If you ever hear typical Borough, we just know what's coming. And obviously, we saw the news with Downing signing today. It just wouldn't surprise me if we can go on top corner tomorrow. We've faced former managers in the past. Aitor Carante, Gary Monk. They've all done the point. It wouldn't surprise if more Brady did this. I mean, thankfully, I mean, Pears might pull off a worldly save. It wouldn't surprise us. It's just something that we're all expecting. We start news today. Most Borough fans were like, well, there's first goal scorer sorted for tomorrow night. So.
Well, you're more relaxed than I am, because I'd be personally bricking it a little bit. And typical Borough, we've had typical Rovers over the years as well. And if ever you need a team to break a bad run of form or a striker who's never scored, then Rovers are your team. So you're a bit more calmer than what I would be. And just outside of these Rovers Borough links then, Stephen, is there anyone else who you think Borough fans are going to be fearing from a Rovers perspective tomorrow?
I think it's going to be the usual suspect. I mean, Adam Armstrong is one player I watch out for. A Newcastle youngster, being from the North East, we all know how good he was coming through their ranks. So we're a bit surprised when Newcastle let him go. I say he's top scorer in the division. He knows how the back of the net is. He's a tricky player to play with. He's one that if I was a defender, I'd hate playing against. He's just one of those horrible players that get in between you, and it's just one. Yeah, for me, it's Adam Armstrong. I think he'll be a big problem for us. And obviously, you know, if Stuart Downing plays tomorrow night, I'm sure he'll know exactly how to get around us and get in about us as well. So, you know, there's two players I'm looking for tomorrow night.
Well, keeping up the good news for you, Stephen, Adam Armstrong is also a doubt for this game tomorrow, because he tweaked his hamstring against Swansea on Saturday. Personally, I wouldn't be playing him. We've done really well. There was an insane stat that he's played like 98 or 96, I think it was, consecutive games for Rovers, which I think is absolutely phenomenal for a player that is quick and, you know, could tear a hamstring at any point. So personally, I would not be playing him tomorrow with how quick the games have been coming round thick and fast. So you might not see him tomorrow either. So that's good news from your perspective. So Stephen, we have reached the part of the show where I put you on the spot a little bit. I want two predictions from you. One is for the game itself, and then the other is for your season as a whole. So in terms of the game, what is your prediction score line?
It wouldn't shock many people, but 1-0 Borough. I think it's going to be a tough game for us tomorrow. You know, it's not a usual place where we go and dominate games, Ewood Park. We've not won many times down the years there. Obviously, it's going to be a bit different with no fans there. It's usually quite Full proud we've dealt with that in the past. But for me, yeah, I think 1-0. It could be even a defender that comes up and scores, a bit like Johnson did at the weekend. Yeah, I think 1-0. Keep it tight at the back. In the second half, I think that'd be a great result for us.
Well, I don't like doing this in a public environment, but I've also gone 1-0 to Middlesbrough. I just think that we really need the international break now. We've got quite a few players out. We're struggling a little bit. It's a Neil Warnock side. Our troubles at home when teams come in defensively set up tight is well documented. And I think we have just reached the point now where we desperately need Bradley Dack back in this side. So we need that international break. Let's hopefully take some points from the Middlesbrough and QPR games that we've got before the international break, and then come back with more players available and a system and a side which just looks a bit more balanced and has a few more options. So sadly, I think Warnock is going to be working his magic again tomorrow, and I've also gone 1-0 Borough, and I don't like doing that, but it is just the way it is. And then your prediction for the season, then, Stephen. What are your thoughts? Where are you going to finish, do you think?
I think I'll stick with what I said on our season preview. I think if we can get top 10, I think it'll be a good season for us. I know it's a long, hard season, which is a bit more compact this year because of what's been going on. So more games in a less period of time. That'd be great. If we can get a push to the playoffs, make us breathe, Neil. Let's have a go for it.
Yeah, I've spoken to quite a few fans now, and I think loads of fans are just thinking, can we make a little push for the playoffs? Can we do it? Have we got a little chance? And I think it's just going to be an absolute cattle market for that 5th, 6th place. I think there are a lot of evenly matched sides, actually, that are going to be impacted by COVID-19 and loss of form at different points. And it's just going to be the usual hullabaloo, isn't it, for the Championship? But what I will say is I think the table is taking some early form already with the likes of Watford and Norwich and Bournemouth all up there. Even Middlesbrough, you would have predicted that. So if teams are going to make the playoffs, you've got to go on that run, certainly after Christmas, but, have a bit of form before it as well. So that's it, Rovers fans. We have reached the end of the show, and we've not had too many comments tonight on the show. So if you are watching this on the playback, do give us your comments on the YouTube video after this has finished going live. You've heard from Stephen. You've heard of the areas of weakness that Middlesbrough are going to have from set pieces. Have Rovers got the players to score from a set piece? We're missing Bradley Johnson. We're missing some of that height from Daniel Ayala. Can we hit Borough and get a 1-0 victory of our own and scrape it? So let us know in the comments box. Stephen, my biggest thanks to you for joining us again tonight. I will sort out that hat-trick ball for you at some point. And if we do end up signing another Middlesbrough player, then maybe it'll have to be a 4th, 5th, 6th appearance. Who knows what Tony Mowbray is going to be up to. And a very big reminder to Rovers fans, please check out our sponsor, 6yardsout.com. Subscribe to us on the YouTube channel, Rovers Chat, and of course, give us a follow on Twitter, Rovers_chat. And I am going to finish actually with a little comment here from Mark Whittle, who snuck in with a score prediction. He thinks 1-1, Stephen. So I don't think we've had any other score predictions coming through. So we've had no positive score lines coming through yet. So we will end it there, Rovers fans. Thank you, Stephen. Please join us tomorrow for the pre- and post-match live stream, where we will digest everything Rovers versus Middlesbrough. And it will be the slightly earlier time of around 6 o'clock tomorrow for the pre-match stream, so that everyone can then go and watch the Sky Sports coverage. So hopefully you join us at about 6 p.m. Thanks, everyone, and see you soon.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.
There we go. Sorted. Oh, I think we might still be live. People are getting a little after extra time.